You know that feeling? A new movie drops, everyone's talking about it, and you want to be in the loop, right? But scrolling through endless reviews, dodging spoilers, it feels like homework.
Yeah, it's a lot. Information overload is real.
Totally. So consider this your shortcut, your express lane to understanding the buzz around the 2025 film, The Monkey.
Right, we've basically done the homework for you. We took a deep dive into a key review.
And pulled out just the essentials so you can talk about it, know what's what, without getting bogged down.
Exactly. Think of it as the cheat sheet you didn't know you needed for The Monkey.
Okay, let's unpack it then. The Monkey. 2025 film. Already making some waves, it seems.
It is.
Our main source today is this review, gives a pretty solid overview. And our mission, well, it's simple. We want to pull out the key stuff, like what kind of film is it? How does it mix genres? What's the story about?
Themes, yeah. What's it trying to say?
And, what did the critic actually think? Good, bad, mixed.
Basically give you a clear picture so you can figure out, hey, is this something I'd be interested in?
Exactly. And what's really interesting right off the bat is the reviewer. They were surprised they liked it.
Oh, why is that?
Well, they said they're not usually a big horror fan at all.
Okay, that is interesting. So not your typical horror buff enjoying a horror film.
Right. Yet they were, quote, thoroughly engaged with The Monkey.
So that begs the question, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on there? If it's horror, but a non-horror fan liked it.
Well, according to the review, the key thing is it wasn't just scary. It wasn't purely terrifying.
Ah, okay. So it has horror elements, gruesome moments, maybe a body count.
Yes, definitely mentions gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
But it avoids being like relentlessly grim or frightening the whole time.
And that's where the genre blend comes in, I guess.
Exactly. The reviewer calls it a twisted horror comedy.
Horror comedy. Okay. That's a specific vibe.
It is. And apparently the film walks that line pretty well. The review highlights how it successfully blends, and I quote, gruesome deaths with genuine laughs.
Genuine laughs alongside gruesome deaths. Wow, that's bold.
Yeah. And get this, they even said that each freak accident seemed sillier and less terrifying than the preceding one.
Sillier. A freak accident, death becoming sillier. That's really counterintuitive for horror.
Isn't it? It suggests they really lean into the dark comedy aspect.
So for someone thinking about watching it, this means maybe don't expect pure dread. It sounds like it's designed to keep you engaged in different ways.
Right. Maybe the humor offers a release, stops it from being just oppressive.
Could be. Or maybe it makes the horror hit differently when it does land. But yeah, it sounds like it might be more accessible for people usually put off by straight horror.
Okay, so plot. Let's get into the actual story. We know it's adapted from Stephen King, a short story.
The master of horror. That sets certain expectations, right?
Definitely. So who are we following? What kicks it all off?
It centers on twin brothers, Hal and Bill. And interestingly, both are played by the same actor, Theo James.
Oh, dual role.
Yeah. And they're kind of dealing with their past, specifically their absent father, sorting through his old stuff, trying to understand him, maybe.
And that's when they find it, the titular monkey.
That's the one. They stumble upon this old, creepy-looking monkey toy. Symbols and all.
Uh-oh. Knowing King, that toy isn't just going to sit on a shelf, is it?
Not a chance. There's a catch. A big one.
Let me guess. It's cursed.
You got it. The core mechanic, the engine of the plot, is this. Wind up the monkey, it claps its little symbols together.
Don't leave me hanging.
And someone nearby dies, horrifically. Looks like a freak accident, but is tied directly to the monkey.
Okay, wow, that's simple, direct, and really disturbing. Classic King, taking something mundane, a toy.
And making it absolutely lethal, yeah.
The review also mentioned this premise leads into some heavier themes, right? It's not just about the kills.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
It apparently tackles mortality, big time. And our lack of control. You know, how powerless we are against death sometimes.
That sense that life is unpredictable, fragile.
Exactly. It can end horribly, unexpectedly. There's actually a quote in the review from the twins' mother, Lois. It's hard.
What does she say?
She says, everybody dies. Some of us peacefully and in our sleep, and some of us horribly. And that's life.
Oof. Yeah, that's blunt. And that's life. Just lays it bare, powerlessness, fate.
Pretty much sums up that thematic core, doesn't it? This feeling that you're just caught in the current.
Yeah, it really does. So, okay, we've got the cursed toy, the deaths, the heavy themes, but we also touched on the humor earlier. Let's circle back to that. How important is it?
It sounds crucial, actually. The reviewer stresses the dark and blunt humor, says it's vital. It works with the violence, not against it.
So it's not just comic relief sprinkled in randomly.
Doesn't sound like it. More like it's woven into the fabric of the film. Apparently it shifts pretty smoothly between, like, horrific decapitations to clever one-liners.
That still sounds like such a tricky balance. Easy to mess up, get the tone wrong.
Totally. But the review suggests they somehow pull it off. And why it's so important, the reviewer argues, is that this balance keeps you hooked.
Even if the main plot isn't, like, the most amazing story ever, the review did call the plot mediocre.
Exactly. That was the word used. Mediocre plot. So the humor, the tone, it kind of carries you through. It acts like a pressure release valve.
Keeps the horror from just getting exhausting or maybe even repetitive.
Yeah, or just numbing. The dark comedy offers another way to engage, acknowledges the absurdity of it all, maybe, gives you a different kind of payoff moment to moment.
So potentially more entertaining overall, even with the gore. Makes sense.
Seems to be the idea.
Now, besides the scares and laughs, it sounds like family drama is a big part of this too.
Oh yeah, big time. The review calls it an exploration of complicated family dynamics and generational trauma.
Generational trauma, okay. So it goes deep.
It seems so. It specifically mentions the relationship between the twins, Bill and Hal. It's strained.
Because of the monkey?
Well, the monkey makes it worse. But maybe the cracks were already there. Apparently, after the first monkey-related death happens when Hal has the toy, Bill's reaction is basically to bully him.
Wow, okay, that's not great. Adds another layer of awfulness.
Right. It suggests the monkey isn't just causing external horror, it's amplifying the internal family stuff, bringing existing tensions bubbling right to the surface.
And their father seems central to these issues. The review mentioned daddy issues.
Yep, explicitly. It says, time might heal much, but it certainly doesn't heal Bill and Hal's daddy issues. So that unresolved stuff with their dad sounds like a major undercurrent.
Drives their conflict, maybe, their whole dynamic.
Very possibly. And we see it echo down the generations, too. Bill, one of the twins, is initially reluctant to connect with his own son, Petey Jr.
Repeating patterns, avoidance.
Seems like it, until, circumstances force his hand. So yeah, beyond the supernatural hook, it's digging into how past family pain can ripple outwards.
So it's using this crazy monkey premise to talk about very real, very human struggles. Family, the past, how it shapes us.
Looks that way. Which brings us to the actors.
Right. Theo James playing both twins. What did the review say about the casting?
Very positive about him. Called him an excellent casting choice.
Why excellent?
Well, the reviewer felt he has the talent, obviously, but also he's recognizable without being, so famous it pulls you out of the movie.
Like he serves the story, doesn't overshadow it?
Exactly. A good balance. Allows him to just embody these two different brothers.
And his chemistry with the kid playing his son, Petey Jr.
Apparently, that's a real highlight. The dynamic between James and the young actor Colin O'Brien is described as refreshing and organic.
Nice.
And it leads to some genuine laughs, reportedly. Which sounds needed in a film like this.
For sure. What about O'Brien's character?
Petey Jr. is interesting because he's apparently totally unaware of the whole cursed monkey thing. Just oblivious.
No, the kid doesn't.
Nope. And O'Brien's performance is praised. Called relaxed and skilled. He provides this grounded perspective, maybe. A breath of fresh air for the audience amidst all the chaos.
So the performances sound like a strong point. They help anchor the wilder parts of the story.
Seems that way. Helps make the human element believable even when a toy monkey is causing mayhem.
But the review wasn't all praise, was it? There were some criticisms too.
No film is perfect, right? Yeah, there were definitely some flaws pointed out. The main one seems to be the ending.
What about it?
The third act specifically felt extremely rushed.
Rushed how?
Well, the adult twins finally reunite, which should be a big moment, right? Given their history.
Yeah, you'd expect some resolution there.
But it happens really late in the film, apparently. And it's brief. Too brief, the reviewer felt, to give a satisfying payoff. Doesn't allow for proper resolution for the characters or the audience.
Oh, that's a shame. You build up all this complicated history and then the landing feels abrupt.
Yeah, potentially less impactful than it could have been. And there was another issue with the ending, too, related to the supernatural stuff.
What was that?
In the last few minutes, there's a sudden reintroduction of the supernatural. But the reviewer felt it seemed disconnected from the tone and the story threads built up earlier.
Like it came out of left field, Didn't quite fit.
Something like that. Maybe felt tacked on or undermined the established mood.
And did the reviewer feel like maybe the brothers' relationship itself could have been explored more?
Yes, that was another point. A missed opportunity, perhaps, for a deeper dive into the twins' dynamic.
Which could have added more emotional weight, maybe helped resolve the whole father thing more satisfyingly.
Exactly. More focus on their complex bond might have elevated the whole thing, giving it more emotional punch. But it sounds like the rushed ending just didn't leave room for that.
Okay, so pulling it all together, flaws and strengths.
Yeah.
What's the final verdict from this review? What should listeners take away about The Monkey?
Well, despite those issues, the rushed ending, maybe some tonal bumps, not fully exploring the emotional depth, the reviewer's bottom line was pretty clear.
Which was?
That The Monkey succeeds in its main goal, to entertain.
Okay, so it does the job.
Yeah, it does what it needs to do, even with the shifts between horror and comedy, and maybe sacrificing some depth. It delivers an entertaining experience.
So maybe not revolutionary horror, but still a good time.
That's the vibe. Described as a fun, gory picture seasoned with some food for thought, about family, faith, all that.
So the mix works overall. Dark humor, creative kills, family stuff.
According to this review, yeah. That blend makes it enjoyable. And the final thought was pretty memorable.
Go on.
The Monkey may not have you sobbing in the theater or up all night, but it might have you rethinking your next toy purchase.
Okay, fair enough. So for our listeners, the key takeaway seems to be The Monkey offers this interesting horror comedy mix, tackles family issues, and fate.
Even if it gets a bit wobbly near the end.
Right. But overall, aiming to be an entertaining, maybe slightly thought-provoking ride. Hopefully this deep dive gives you a good sense of it, saves you some scrolling time.
Absolutely. A concentrated shot of insight from one key perspective.
And, thinking about that final line from the review about cursed objects, unexpected consequences, makes you wonder, doesn't it? What seemingly harmless things in your life might you look at a bit differently now? Just something to mull over.
Indeed. Well, food for thought there.
Well, thanks for taking this deep dive into The Monkey with us today.